My friends, doing a cold open for a spoiler hot review is a real balancing act. I don't want to really give away too much. I really don't want to give you an indication how I felt about the film before you actually hear the review. But what I will say is that we have a ton to talk about in terms of this film. And we have a lot to say. We have a lot of opinions, a lot of insights. We want to talk about the future of the franchise. So what I can tell you is that this is not going to be the only spoiler hot review. This is not going to be the only episode. This is going to be a multi-parter without a doubt. So keep your eye out for a follow-up to this one. And then I think after we kind of get all of our internal thought, our internal opinions as a collective kind of down, I think we're going to invite you guys in to call in and share your thoughts and your feelings and your ideas about this film, because we think it's important. We really do. This is the end of a saga. This is the end of something that we've all grown up with, and that's informed who we are and really had a large impact on most of us. If you're listening to this kind of stuff, obviously there's people in this world that could give two shits about Star Wars, but if you're listening to a program like this, chances are that's not the case. We want to talk about the future of the franchise. We want to talk about, the hands that it's currently in. And obviously we want to talk about where we kind of go from here. So we hope that you stay tuned with us. We would love for you guys to share your thoughts and your feelings as we release these episodes, meanwhile_pod. So let's hit the music and let's get this started.
Meanwhile, back on the podcast, 4 colossal nerds named Saba, Chris, Christina, and Frank have set out to take on a great darkness that has enveloped the world of fandom. With their powers of common sense and the strength to take on even the most butthurt Twitter mobs and insufferable comment section trolls. They fight for truth, objectivity, and nuance in the conversation and debate over fictional made-up shit.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Meanwhile Back on the Podcast. I'm Frank.
I'm Christina.
I'm Chris.
And I'm Saba, and I'm joining as a Force Ghost. You guys have to laugh.
We need like a hologram.
I'm on the phone, actually.
We need a droid so we can like create apparitions of each other.
Yeah. Saba is joining us from the Force realm. Yeah, guys. So this is our spoiler hot review of Rise of the Skywalker. If you haven't seen the movie, go see it, because warning. If you continue on, we're going to spoil the fucking movie for you. That's what a spoiler hot review is. It's when people talk about what happened in the movie. I know it's silly to say that, but there are actually people who will fucking still listen to this and then bitch at us about it. You know what I'm saying? So I just want to make it very clear.
Put it in the title. It'll be fine.
Yeah, I know, but like it happens all the time. You see people being like, "Why didn't you warn me?" And it fucking happens all the time. Anyways,
it hasn't happened to us.
Not to us. It happens to big guys like Kevin Smith, but we aspire to get there one day. All right, so let's jump into this. Basic plot, like not going in any real specifics. The Emperor's back. Kylo Ren wants to kill him in the beginning. They form some sort of partnership, and the partnership is based on him killing Rey. Rey has learned that Luke was looking for the Emperor in the past, and she's found a way to potentially find him. So it's basically a hunt to try and find these devices that will get her to the Emperor. At the same time, the Emperor has come back and he has this giant Sith fucking Star Destroyer fleet that's like 1,000 ships. And Kylo Ren is back with the Knights of Ren. The Knights of Ren make an appearance in this. And and it's basically one of these adventure Indiana Jones type of stories, trying to find a significant artifact that's going to kind of change the game. And it all leads up to Rey confronting herself, knowing that she is the granddaughter of Emperor Palpatine, and that she realizes now that she has a dark side in her and that she needs to confront it, a la, Empire Strikes Back. And it leads to this final battle between a redeemed Kylo Ren and Rey versus the Emperor. And and then obviously there's this giant space battle, which there always is. So let's go into this.
Let's take the resurrected elephant in the room first.
Yeah.
Okay. Emperor, the whole Emperor thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so can I go first?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so
Of course.
So for me, the Emperor getting killed by Darth Vader is the single most important part in. It's not the single most popular point, which that would be "I am your father" moment, but Vader killing the Emperor is the most important point in Star Wars, the original trilogy. Like I would argue all the trilogies. So him coming back here was very dodgy ground for me, because it's like you essentially not unmade, but like you made it less significant, Anakin's redemption arc.
Yeah.
So I was like, they better do this right. And in the beginning of this movie, I was really scared of what would happen. And in the beginning, I was actually really happy, because it seemed like it was a third party, Kylo Ren and his First Order versus the Resistance, or whatever is left of the Resistance, and versus the Emperor, because they weren't allied at first. And then it did a weird thing where it's like Kylo Ren just became his own agent, and now he's again the like secondhand man of another Snoke. And it was just weird to me that I was so happy that it was like, so okay, so for example, that meeting between Kylo Ren and all of his generals, they were like, oh, what does he want? Like, what does the Empire want with us? And I'm like, okay, so they're two different entities. And I thought it would have been amazing to have a three-way war between these three.
Yeah.
And he just became a top dog for the Emperor again. I'm like, you essentially just remade Snoke. Why even have Snoke in the first place? I was pretty disappointed.
Chris,
Well-
I feel you there.
Yeah.
With that point. Like I said, I kind of from if you listen to the last review, I did enjoy this movie. But one thing I would have loved is, you know how they like inside the byline when it starts, it's like, they hear a message and it's from like Palpatine. If they had that at the end of Last Jedi, had a message being sent out, and the Last Jedi ended on that note. And then they had this, and it was this sort of like three-way battle, because we kind of predicted before that in the other regions that there is some sort of empire that is sort of biding its time and waiting, right? And then if like, let's say the First Order is weaker in the end of The Last Jedi, and then this comes out after, like that would have been so intense for sure.
Yeah, and it would have brought this like greater evil question that like Kylo Ren's like, you don't want the First Order to win. But then, like that's the only thing they had, because it would have been amazing, because they blew up the Resistance, the New Republic, and it's like the only thing that can stand in the Empire's way is the First Order, which are also evil. So it like brings in this like greater good question.
Why
but
couldn't
it's
they make Kylo Ren
underused.
his own bad guy? Why couldn't he be the villain
Yeah,
of the
exactly,
movie?
yeah.
Like why wasn't he smart enough to come up with some kind of idea of like how to
I've always hated
grow
how
his empire?
I've always hated how what's his name? Not Plagueis, but Snoke. Like Snoke just dies without anything, and it's like, and I knew that they were missing it. Like I knew that he was essential to this movie, and this shows it, because they needed a new Grand Master Evil guy, and it's like him dying in the second movie or eighth movie was this like corner that he was written into, because it's like, oh, now we need a new big bad, and it's like,
But
fucking
Kylo Ren could have been the
could have
big
been
bad.
that too.
So
yeah.
I don't know why he didn't
Yeah,
just
but-
do that. I don't know why he had to bring back Palpatine. It raises too many questions too. It's like, how did Palpatine come to be? Why does he have kids? Like, there's so
I get that
many-
he's an important character, but he was underused. Like I thought he was just to fill in blanks. That
Yeah.
Yeah,
it
but
raises
there's
too many questions.
Yeah, but there's lots of canonical reasons as to why he's still alive.
Okay.
Right? Lots of
Why?
canonical
why
reasons.
is not good enough?
No, I know that. And listen, I'm the first person to say that I'm getting tired of all the same archetypes.
Yeah.
Okay? Because I am, right? Like the fact that, like, I think Rian Johnson killed Snoke because he's sick of this fucking Emperor evil big bad figure, that they needed something different, right? And they were going to take it into a different direction. That was that was Johnson's hope, right?
Right.
I think Johnson literally killed off everything that reminded him of the OT, right? He destroyed Kylo Ren's mask.
Yeah.
He killed off Snoke. He put fucking Luke on an island, and he wanted to kill the Jedi Order, right? So I think that there was this vision that Johnson had of the Star Wars that he wanted, and yeah, he kind of bullied us into watching his movie and seeing his version. But I loved his version. It's a better version.
I liked that plot point. I liked the plot point of the Jedi Order is gone, the Empire is gone, and like let's see some new bad guys, some kind of new.
Yeah. Because that's what it should have been from the fucking beginning, right? You give us the same fucking resistance, or sorry, you give us the same rebellion, but you call them the resistance.
I gotta
you give us another empire, you call them the First Order.
Yeah.
Like, that's lazy. It's lazy as fuck.
I gotta say, like, I never liked how there was a new resistance. Literally, the rebels, it even starts with the same goddamn letter, right? Like, I never liked that from The Force Awakens. Like, there's a new First Order. I'm like, all right, whatever. It's a little bit different. It's the same shit. But the thing is, like, sorry, but that's the story that was established. You can't just change it halfway.
No, I know, but that's the problem, is that the Force Awakens set something in motion that couldn't be fixed.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay, so we're gonna have to save that for our Force Awakens podcast.
So we are. Go ahead.
For Rise of Skywalker, I will say this: I actually did not enjoy the movie as much as, I don't know how much you guys enjoyed it or not enjoyed it, but
well, me and you rated it the same, right? Me and you rated it the same.
I rated it a 7.
Well, I said 6.5.
Well, I changed it to 7 at the end.
Okay.
Yeah,
well,
and 7 to me is not like a bad rating.
No.
Yeah.
You're right.
But for me, the things I really did, like, I love having the team back together. Like like Finn and Poe, like their scenes together, I really enjoyed. I know some of you guys didn't like the comedy beats. I actually did like them. I do think there were some things that were like over the top. So the really funny thing here for me is, the jetpack and the stormtroopers, and like they can do that now. It's like, they could always do that. I found an interview with John Boyega and Poe Dameron, Oscar Isaac, and they're talking about that. And Poe was like, and Oscar Isaac was like, "Oh, well, maybe that's the first time they've seen it." And John Boyega was like, "Since Clone Wars?" Even he was kind of on the side of that. But in terms of actual story, this is what I always said. Like, if they could do this over 2 movies, so like the story, like points I did like was, I actually kind of really liked the whole opening sequence with Kylo Ren. Like, I thought that was so good. Yeah. I thought it was a really great way to start off.
It was dope.
I liked everything with Kylo Ren. I just didn't like, I liked all the scenes he was in. They were awesome. Like, he was just such a good actor, but I just didn't like where they took his story. I think they should have either made him like more of a bad guy. I did kind of like that he got redemption in a way, and like he turned into a Jedi, sort of. I think they needed to be like,
there was no way Leia's son, but there was no way they were not going to give Ben or Kylo Ren like a redemptive story. Like, he is a Skywalker. Like, he was going to get one. He was not going to die evil.
I think what I wanted to see...
Yeah, but that's another recycled story beat.
I think what I wanted to see is Kylo and Rey like destroy the Force or something, or come to some kind of middle Force, like balance.
I wanted this to end on the Gray Jedi. That's what I wanted.
Yeah.
I wanted the Gray Jedi, and I didn't get the Gray Jedi. Maybe I did though, because Rey has a fucking yellow lightsaber at the end, right? So we don't know what's happening with that.
So if you're doing Kylo, if you don't mind, So I thought Kylo. A lot of the things I hated about him. I don't get me wrong. Kylo is by far my favorite character in this entire this trilogy. But there were things I hated about him in the first 2 movies that I think they did great strides in fixing. Yeah. First of all, the fight scenes. This is how the fight scenes should have been from the beginning.
The fight scenes were amazing.
Like Rey, like swinging wildly with her wild, like, she's very powerful, but she's very wild. She's untrained, and Kylo Ren being completely calculated, not even igniting his lightsaber, just dodging, because that's how much more training he has, and that's very indicative of where they're both at.
Very
that
Dooku.
Should have been
very Dooku.
He's very calculating. That's where it should have been in The Force Awakens. I think Kylo Ren should have won that duel in The Force Awakens. It's not like you have to. I didn't take him seriously after The Force Awakens when he lost that duel. It's like to someone who's never trained before. So I think like they made great strides that way. However, he started this movie off really well, because he's now in the leader. Like Snoke dying, the only good thing about Snoke dying is Kylo Ren is moving on to his own agency, his own empire essentially. And again, like, they took that in the worst way I thought they could have. But he started, like, he's now in charge of this whole thing, and the entire movie he didn't make any moves. His entire thing was chasing Rey.
Yeah.
And if he's trying to take over the universe, you have to make moves. He didn't give a single order to his generals to progress his what do you call it, his growing empire. Like, you give him some agency. All he did in the entire movie was chase Rey.
Yeah,
because
but
he was told to.
Yeah, he promised Palpatine that he would kill her.
That's a terrible plot for a character.
Yeah.
He was literally told by the bad guy to do something, so the entire movie he did it.
Yeah.
Like, how terrible is that?
Because he's a Vader. Because he's a Vader archetype. Exactly.
And he eventually betrays Palpatine, so we see that.
Yeah.
But I guess that's why they had to bring back Palpatine, so that they could have that redemptive arc for Ben Solo, because otherwise they couldn't.
Yeah, somebody else has to betray him.
Yeah.
Like, see, that's what I'm talking about. It's just, it's recycled archetypes, it's recycled plot beats, it's recycled story beats. That
alone doesn't make it bad, though.
Everything. No,
but even
I'm
if
not
he
saying
was
that.
the big bad,
I'm not saying that.
Even if he was the big bad, he could have ended up having that redemptive story arc anyway, and then there's just no more.
Exactly, and it would mean more. And instead of just, I was manipulated, and now I'm no longer manipulated. That's way worse than, like, I've fallen into the dark side in my own choice, and then redeemed myself.
Yeah.
That's a way better story
choice. He did have a nemesis
choice.
Anyway, so that little guy could have taken over his spot instead of killing that redheaded guy. I forget his name.
Yeah, Hux. They wasted Hux. I think they wasted Hux a lot.
He could have been the bad guy instead if Ben Solo was going to come back.
Man, Hux was petty AF, bro.
Yeah, he turned into a child. He turned into a freaking child here.
I don't. He had a Harry
he's a
Potter
petulant.
vibe.
But can I tell you,
He's a petulant child.
Hux has always been a child for me.
Yeah,
Hux
he's
has always been really childish.
He's always been a petulant child.
He's always been jealous of Kylo Ren, but, like, this dude was in charge of Starkiller Base. He wasn't just, I need to win. Like, I need to, like, I don't need to win. I just need you to beat this guy who made me look like a fool. That's just petty. Like, he used to be, like, he was never, like,
that was annoying. I didn't like that.
I get it. Like, he was jealous of Kylo Ren. That's fine. But it's like, you literally just said, like, I need him to lose. That's such a childish thing. He's never done that before.
He could have been so evil instead.
Yeah, they went the wrong way.
Okay, so let's go through some of the major story beats in this and talk about the choices that were made. Okay, so the first one I want to talk about is the fact that they retroactively made Leia a Jedi Master.
So listen, like if you showed me that in The Force Awakens, I would have been like, hell yeah.
Yes.
Right? Because I actually, at the beginning of The Force Awakens, that was my biggest question.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I was thinking, like, is she a Jedi now? Because, like, she could be, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't see why Luke wouldn't train her.
I agree with you, Chris.
Right? And then, but
For
then,
sure, like,
but then, like, they made her the general. I'm like, all right, cool. So they didn't make her the Jedi, whatever. And then now it's like, oh, by the way, literally told us, oh, by the way, here's a flashback. She is a Jedi.
Yeah.
What? Like, what?
Yeah.
Like, now that she isn't doing anything,
well,
so forced and stupid.
Not just that, but Leia was a Jedi in Legends, right? She was a great Jedi in Legends, but they fucking killed that when Disney bought Lucasfilm. They're like, listen, Legends is done. There's no more Legends. They're not canon anymore. Yeah. Right? It was their decision not to keep Leia as a Jedi, but now they make her a Jedi again. Yeah. It's just fucking. Go ahead, Saba.
Okay, I would love that, because that's the same thing. Like, in terms of Luke and Leia, like, they were born to offset the Force, like the evil side. So they both have this insane amount. Like, they're both kind of born of the Force. So it completely makes sense that after this, the Leia would get training. 100% makes sense. Thrown in like that.
So stupid.
Again, I know timeline and everything else. Like, was a bit like, oh, I mean, I love that she did do that, but yeah, I know it was just, I don't know, man.
Okay. I gotta add something else to this, and I'm not trying to be an ageist or anything, okay? But if they had set the story 10 years before the time that they set it now, right? And then they used digital technology to make them look younger, Luke and Leia, right? Leia would have been way more believable in terms of being a Jedi, okay?
I liked her as the general, but, like, I don't know. It did feel forced that
she has she has a presence because she's the Princess of Alderaan, right? And we all remember her as she was in the original trilogy, right? She was a fucking badass, right? But her presence in this film doesn't come across the same way as it used to in the OT, right?
But like
Well,
when
it
you
does
when
feel
you
like
have
she's a leader and people look up to her.
but
like,
when you have
got
an old
that.
Jedi, like an old Master Jedi, that is the presence. Like they're not physically imposing.
Yeah, but
they're
nobody's
like,
ever been that old, right?
Yoda is 900 years old.
But Yoda's different.
Yeah, bro. That's
Yo-
a bit
What do you
ageist.
mean?
Wait. Yoda is different.
You're saying
Yoda
'cause
is
she's
completely
old,
different.
She didn't have presence. That is ageist.
No,
yeah.
no. Listen. I'm just saying that the lightsaber stuff, the actual physicality of the role could have been better portrayed if they had set the story a little earlier. That's
I don't
all I'm
know.
saying.
If you're a Jedi, you're a Jedi. You know how to fight. You don't have to be young
Yeah.
to do that.
Well,
Yeah.
Well, okay. Here's the thing with
She never
with
fought
Leia
with it.
actually being
Yeah.
Go
Yeah.
ahead. Sorry, Saba.
with Leia actually like training or sort of being part of that. I don't mind that she is. Like, I think that does make sense. My only thing was like it was introduced in this last movie.
Yeah.
Again, this movie, like whatever we think of The Last Jedi or the previous two for setting things up, there was a lot of things that need to be tied up. And with Leia no longer, like with obviously Carrie Fisher no longer even being there, and them, I think they would rely on her a lot more this movie if she was alive, honestly.
yeah.
I think that was like an issue as well. So I think they were trying to tie her back in whatever ways that they could. Like if she was there and kind of explained it, I don't know if that would have made a difference or not. If she kind of like walked it through to Rey, but there's like only so much you could really do with her character in this movie.
I think a big part of their motivation to make Leia a Jedi was to give Carrie Fisher the send off she deserved, right? Big part of it, without a doubt. And
I think it was so that
hold on.
Okay.
And J.J. Abrams has a very strong personal relationship with Carrie Fisher.
Mhm.
Okay, he always has. Everybody loves Carrie Fisher, right? But I don't think that's reason enough to make these decisions, right?
There was a plot reason though. So the plot reason was that she had to call to Ben Solo, and she could only do that if she had
That doesn't make
Jedi
her
powers.
Yeah, but you can be a Force user and not be a Jedi.
Okay.
There's lots
Okay,
of
Well,
them.
I wouldn't be powerful
There's
enough.
lots of them.
Yeah, but
There's
so I
lots of
feel
them.
like that's why they did it. They just needed her to call out
Okay,
to
so actually,
Kylo, so
like it's a good thing you pointed out. I wanted to use that as a stepping stone. I think in this movie, like, okay, so the Force was this like mystical. First of all, like I want to like establish that the Force is a hard magic system, which means that there's rules. And you know what Gandalf is like. There's no rules. You can just do whatever. The Force has always been a hard magic system, which means there's rules and regulations, and there's things you can do and things you can't do. And it used to be this thing where you have a plot, you have these characters, and the Force was this thing that was like a different character in the movie, and you would discover it the same way you discover characters, like whatever. I feel like in this movie they use the Force as a plot device. It's like it just became this thing where it's like, we need to do our next move. What do we do? Let's let the Force solve it. Like, okay, so first of all, my biggest problem with this is when did like falling to the dark side or the light side ever just become a question of say yes or no to the question? Right? Like, so now the redemption arcs is like, would you join the dark side? Yes. Oh, you're in the dark side already. Do you remember a time when there was character arcs and it's like
they
Anakin
had motivations. They had no motivation to do
Anakin
anything.
had to be evil, had to give in to the feelings he had, and then the Force corrupted him. Not just, hey, join the dark side? Yeah, like, it was so stupid to me. It was like Carrie Fisher just went, oh, let me just reach out to him, press a button, and he's a good guy now. Like, that's like
That was
what happened to
annoying.
what
That
happened to
was
character motivations?
But
That's
okay,
gone.
it kind of makes sense because it was his mother.
That shit was
so,
confusing as fuck,
like,
okay? Like, I just gotta throw that out there. It was confusing as shit
He was
because
conflicted because he killed his father, and then his mother calls out to him and whatever. So I
yeah,
don't
but,
know.
I think after like the events of the last movie, like it seemed like Kylo was like, he's always kind of been on like edge of like good or bad. And then also finding out, which is something we kind of talked about in our episode when we were talking about the trailer of this movie, about maybe that mask talking to him wasn't actually his father, that it was like someone else.
well, it was Palpatine,
aka
obviously.
Palpatine.
Yep.
Yeah, it was Palpatine. But I
Which
think
is
in
weird.
terms of this, I think he thought, I think in terms of he thought that maybe killing Han Solo was like, I can't go back even if I wanted to. Like maybe there was a pull for him to want to go back, and his mother kind of giving him that was
And
like the
that's
last.
pretty
Although I will say Han Solo showing up was weird.
Yeah,
Like, I was not
Yeah.
expecting Han
See,
Solo.
like him killing Han Solo, at least that was an action in the world. It's not just this internal conflict
It was
that
agency.
we never see,
Yeah.
and it's like, yeah, just say yes, and you're one of us.
Yeah.
It's like,
But
yeah,
if you kill your dad, that makes you pretty evil. Like,
Exactly.
you shouldn't come back from that. That should put you to
No,
the dark side.
I agree.
Like,
I definitely agree. So here's okay. So after this plot beat or the story beat, the other one I want to talk about too is all the twists. Like the reveal, you know, the Chewbacca's dead. Nope,
Oh, I
Chewbacca's
hated
not
that.
dead.
yeah.
Like, to me, that was
you got the answer to Dark Ray.
lame
she was
as
just
shit.
a little vision.
No, I know.
I think she needed to struggle with the darkness. I wanted her to kill Palpatine. It's
Why
like
did they even-
you brought
Exactly.
Palpatine
Exactly.
back? Fucking let Ray kill him and become
Exactly.
evil. Why did
Yeah.
he explain to her?
But the reasoning.
So stupid. Yeah.
she needed to be evil. I wanted to see Ray be evil.
Wait. But you're right about that. The explanation was the failure, right? When Palpatine explained to her, "If you kill me,
Oh,
I will
stupid.
put my spirit into you."
She
Right?
was gonna do it.
Yeah.
She was gonna
Why-
get it.
I would have.
I told
I would
Saba
have
this.
referred to her.
So go ahead.
Oh yeah, sorry, go Chris.
Oh yeah, like I was telling you this on the train home from watching it. It's like she was gonna, yeah, like your point, like she was gonna do it. Why tell her to do it? She's like, oh, that's what you wanted me to do?
Yeah,
The thing that
exactly.
I was already doing?
Exactly.
Okay, so I won't do it. Like,
Exactly.
so
And that is
stupid.
her character flaw. Her character flaw is supposed to be that she's impulsive. So she
Yeah.
should have killed him.
Exactly.
She should have become dark.
Yeah.
And then she should have had to have a struggle to come back to the light. Because we know that ultimately she's good.
But the impulsivity gets interrupted when she stabs Kylo Ren, and she's like, "Oh fuck, what have I done?" She jumps on his ship, goes to Octo, and burns his ship in an attempt to try and strand herself, and the same way that Luke Skywalker did, and throws her lightsaber. I know I'm jumping ahead here, but throws her fucking lightsaber into a bonfire,
yeah.
and boom, Luke's hand catches a lightsaber. He's not corporeal at all.
Yeah,
He's a force ghost.
they just don't care about the rules anymore. They broke all the hard magic system rules.
The best part after
Okay.
though, wait. The best part after though is 3 minutes later, Luke's like, "I have something that I think my sister would want you to have."
Yeah.
And instead of him fishing it out of the wall himself, he gets Rey to do it because apparently he can no longer touch things anymore.
yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So
And that line too that he says was like a shot to The Last Jedi. Where
Totally.
it's just like you gotta treat Jedi weapons with
a
respect.
Jedi's lightsaber deserves more respect.
So he can't touch
Fuck
things.
you, JJ. Fuck
No,
you.
no.
He
Fuck
can't
you,
touch
Ryan.
things.
No,
You
fuck you, JJ.
But he can still
Okay,
use the force to
guys.
raise his X-wing out of the water.
We gotta talk about that too, okay? Go ahead,
I have to
Saba.
tell
Go ahead, Saba. Go.
When I saw the X-wing being risen up from the water, the first thing I thought was, you need a bag of rice, like a really big bag of rice.
The whole rice
First thing I
patty.
I said the exact same thing. I was like 5 years underwater and the X-Wing, or sorry, 5+ years underwater and the X-Wing still fucking operates?
Well,
Maybe
no.
like fully
that's-
underwater.
Like,
maybe-
I'm sorry. It goes
no.
into space. If water can get into an X-wing, you will not survive space.
Maybe it had
Okay.
its shields up all this time. The
Yeah,
shields
I
were
would say
don't
off.
that's
care.
fine.
There's
I don't
I didn't
care.
reasons.
care.
Yeah, there's reasons why it could be underwater.
Okay, so okay, like I said in my spoiler-free review, I said there were certain things that didn't need to happen in this movie for me to like it to like a 9 or a 10. One is the fucking Leia's a Jedi, the X-Wing, and the Palpatine thing. The Rey being Palpatine's fucking granddaughter. Now let me tell you why this makes no fucking sense at all. Okay? Because one, Palpatine doesn't have any kids in canon. None. Right? And two, why the fuck would they put her on Jakku where the Empire are basically operating and running cloning facilities?
Yeah.
Like, it's already been
Well, I'll tell you this.
established.
Her mom said she's not on Jakku anymore. We've put her somewhere. So that might be the safest place only because no one's on Jakku because the battle was lost there and they left to go to the other region.
Yeah, no.
So, no reason.
Yeah, dude, I don't know about that. Like we can't confirm that the battle was over when they dropped Rey off there, right? Like we can't confirm anything. So even if the battle wasn't over, they dropped her in the middle of a war zone.
Yeah, there's gonna be other planets that are like not in the war zone that are just like off to the side and nobody cares
exactly.
about them.
Exactly.
Well, no, I mean, it is well established that nobody likes Jakku. Like everybody hates Jakku. Nobody's there.
I get that. It's a
Right?
desolate world, but it's still occupied by the Empire.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. They have cloning facilities there.
You mean after the fall of the Empire?
Maybe.
There's no Empire though. There's the First Order after the fall of the Empire.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, it's still a really
The First
fucking
Order
stupid
doesn't-
decision.
Yeah, well,
It's a really dumb decision.
so it's not changing Luke's name to Luke Skywalker's
We'll get
name.
into that too. We'll fucking get into that too. Yeah, so that was kind of like way too much for me. And then definitely the ending was way too much for me, except for the Tatooine thing was beautiful. I really loved all the stuff on Tatooine, except for the I'm a Skywalker shit. That
No,
was
I
good.
like that. I didn't hate that.
You
I
didn't
like
hate
that she's
that?
claiming her own, because you're not who your family is. You know,
But you're
not who your
somebody
parents
else's
were.
family.
Yeah, but she would have had so much more agency if she said
Yeah.
I'm a Palpatine and I'm gonna own this shit.
Or just
No, for
I'm
me,
just
it's like
Rey.
someone who's been like, or she's just Rey, or someone who's like kind of been raised by like another family or something else. Like you don't have to identify with that. Like she doesn't know anything about them. She knows Luke and Leia were the ones who like basically helped brought her up after this.
Right.
So in terms of that, it kind of made sense. In terms of like a family sense, I was like, I'm not mad at that. I did like that scene.
I guess-
on there.
Yeah, I guess in a way they have no more offspring; they're gone. So like she would be the only person to carry on their legacy.
There's
There's
one thing I
to honor
wanted.
them.
Yeah. There's one thing I wanted to point out because Chris was talking about the Force earlier and how the Force was used in this movie. So this is the one thing that, like, I would say for this movie, this is the main cringe for me was how the Force was used.
Yeah.
I really love the Force, whatever. My biggest thing was the Force lightning. Like the Force lightning was the thing that bugged me the most. Honestly, it did. Like it was just
from
too
Rey?
much for me.
No, from Palpatine.
Palpatine's was
What
worse.
is that?
Where he just took
Palpatine's
down
was
all,
like-
the whole.
Listen,
all the
there's a big problem with magic systems. Like there's a ceiling for hard magic systems, and a lot of writers fall down this pit where it's like, okay, we've done a big climax. What's next? Bigger equals better. That's not true. You can't do that with hard magic systems because the entire point is like you make it relatable to the audience, and then you make it predictable and relatable to the audience, and you make plot points based on that. But you can't just do bigger and better because everyone just rolls their eyes and goes, "Oh, okay, so you're just taking all the rules and throwing it out the window." And it's like, yeah, like the Force lightning. Not only was it, I think, a misuse of the Force, it was also a misuse of the battle because that just for me, the space battle scene already felt like it was insignificant to what's happening on the ground. And then you have like you have this entire army and it's like one guy like taking down the entire army. It was just like it was bad it just makes it so insignificant to me.
Right. Okay, so let's go back to when Rey and Kylo are fighting outside the Death Star wreckage on the water. Fucking amazing scene.
Yeah, it was a good
Unbelievable. That scene
So
was
good.
so good. Like the fight choreography was amazing. The Force power uses were amazing. But funny.
Their facial expressions.
Yes.
the water was cool.
The water
I liked
was
all the
cool.
water effects there.
I laughed though because Rey was like straining to climb up into the Death Star, right?
And then she just jumps.
she's leaping
Yeah.
fucking tall buildings in a single bound, like at will,
So
right?
true.
So you have force leap, you have force jump, but you're not using it to scale up to where you need to get to go.
For me,
Ridiculous.
yeah, I was actually just for me. I was
And
like,
she was floating at the beginning. Like, if you can float, why
Oh,
not
yeah.
float up?
That was
Couldn't she
really
also
weird.
just part the waters to make it easier for
Yeah.
her to get where she needed
Yeah,
to go?
like, that's
Well, she's not Jesus. Well,
no. Here's actually that's a good point, Christina, because I also felt that it's like she uses the Force so much that it brings so many questions. They were sinking in quicksand. She could lift everybody in an
That
instant.
too. Holy
you can't
shit.
you can't just
she,
make
she
her.
took a ship down out of the
you
sky.
can't just break the rules of thing because it's just like of hard magic systems because those questions come into like why can't she just lift everybody out of the quicksand? Why couldn't she
Yeah.
just like throw the speeders away? Why like that's what you know what I mean? Like yeah.
I loved her reaction to.
Oh, sorry. Before we
Yeah.
move on, I did like when she like you're right. Like she should have been jumping around inside the remains of the Death Star. But
That
I
would've
did
been
like
cool.
how it was a visual nod to the first scene we ever see her in.
Yeah, that
which
was cool.
Which was that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Why she wasn't jumping around
Yeah,
because
I
she has
dug that part.
experience like
climbing
Yeah.
as a scavenger.
Yeah.
Yeah. I definitely dug that part too. So going back to that scene on top of the lightsaber battle, she stabs Kylo Ren, right? like after Leia is interrupted, done something, intervened or whatever, and taken his focus away from the fight, and she stabs him, and then she heals him, right? And she heals that snake too, okay? And that's another fucking power that was never introduced before in any Star Wars film. Because wouldn't Luke heal his dad?
Yeah.
In Return of the Jedi?
And the explanation they give is that, I gave up some of my life to give life to this other
that was
person.
just like our point before, Christina, which was a justification for a plot point later.
That's
which
like
was
an X-Men power, isn't it? Like, that's like an X-Men thing.
Okay, here's the thing.
Go ahead, Saba.
Force healing, I think Force healing, I think, was a thing in Legends, wasn't it?
It was probably a thing in Legends. I'm not saying that it
was
isn't.
a thing in Legends. But that obviously is not, I guess, canon anymore. But it did. I think there was like one game that you could like force heal it.
Well, it's canon.
Sure.
It's canon now. Does anybody mind if I drop a little spoiler for Mandalorian?
No.
Oh, I actually watched The Mandalorian.
Okay, so you know what I'm talking about?
I don't know what you're talking about, but go for it.
Yeah, go.
Okay, so Baby Yoda heals Grief Karga with the Force.
Yeah.
And
it's so
Mandalorian.
cute.
and honestly, it dropped before The Rise of Skywalker, and I almost feel like they put it in The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
So they could set it up as canon.
The only reason
I thought that is too.
The only reason I could see this as like something forgivable is if like the Jedi Order was like people weren't doing it because it was against the rules.
Yeah.
But then if that was the case, if they weren't doing it just because it's against the rules, then there has to be like massive consequences.
Right.
Yeah.
Then I want to see a massive consequence for you healing someone.
And why
or bringing someone back to life.
Right. And why is it a dark side power? Why would healing somebody be a dark side power?
Right.
Wouldn't killing somebody be a dark side power?
No, is it a dark side power though?
What, the healing? Yeah. Palpatine actually says that it's a dark side power.
Life drain is a dark side power, which also is like a dumb thing.
I could see healing.
Not life transfer. They're two different things.
There's something, but somebody said what Rey was doing was of the dark side, not.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The way
I can't remember who said it.
The
but
way I
somebody
could
said
see it is like if the Jedi Order banned it because of the consequences, and Rey doesn't know what the consequences are. But that's what I mean. Like, she's doing all this impulsive shit. She's using all this magic that she doesn't understand. Yeah. And then there's no consequence for everything that she does, and nobody's telling her.
Yeah.
Like, that they're
I like that a lot. And we run into the problem where it's like if it's banned by the Jedi, like Leia then wouldn't have taught it to her.
Exactly.
Right. And where did she learn it from?
Right. And then the other thing too is, if like the whole plot for Anakin before he turns to the dark side is, I'm having these crazy dreams about my wife dying in birth. I need to save her. Blah 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 blah. Who comes along? Palpatine. I will show you how to stop death.
Yeah.
Right? And he gets turned to the dark side on a false promise.
Yeah.
Because it's not really a thing.
Yeah, it's not.
Right?
We also get all these hints that Rey has darkness in her, and like, Rey does all these things that are dark side-ish. Why doesn't she have to struggle with the dark side? Why is she like just good?
Well, she kind of did. She kind of did struggle with the dark side.
Oh my god! If you say Force Vision, oh my god!
No.
Ben Solo struggles with the dark side.
Yes.
I wanted to see that kind of struggle.
Thank you.
No. Wait. No, there's definitely some anger in here. Or like once she learned that Palpatine killed her parents, she reacted how anybody else would react. Right? She didn't react the way a Jedi would react, right?
I wanted her to kill Palpatine.
I think there was.
I really wanted that. That's what I wanted.
I think it would be cool to see like a longer struggle for sure. But for the time they given, they did kind of show it, like obviously at the end with her, and I guess he told the whole story. All right, I know we've been jumping around, and I guess there's one scene, which Christine and I were sitting next to each other when we watched this movie, and I think we both collectively freaked out and were vocal about it.
As I sighed and rolled my eyes.
Me too.
I was
too.
Dying. So it was, that kiss right at the end with Kylo Ren, was Ben and Rey, and they did have a really cute meet cute at the beginning of the movie. I mean, what's cuter than having your future lover torture you? But I was so shocked that they went that way, and also because I'm very much Team Finn. But I'm gonna tell you guys, I was never that much of attracted to Kylo throughout the movies, and I was all damn, Kylo.
Well, there were hints to it. I kind of knew there had to be a Reylo situation, but I'm kind of I'm disappointed that they didn't.
You wanted it.
You were attracted to Kylo because he kissed her,
No, it's
How
the
is
way
it-
he
Not just
did
That's
that,
what it
like,
takes.
some of
way-
It was so intense.
The-
It was like
it wasn't that
they
intense
stared
at
at each
all.
other for
Yeah.
like a minute.
It wasn't that
And the
intense.
smile at the end.
Yeah.
Oh my
If we
It
are
was a
talking
really
about
nice
if we are
kiss.
talking about
Oh my
romances, I have to like this is the one main thing, not the one. Like there's a few good things that I would defend from The Last Jedi, the number one thing would be bringing them together, like the Force
Yeah.
visions that they had together. I thought was really cool.
That was cool.
However, I thought that Finn and Rey had so much chemistry in The Force Awakens that I am sad that won't.
Well,
like,
the
that won't be a
chemistry,
thing.
I guess, was supposed to be one-sided. It's supposed to be Finn having this like unrequited love.
Well, he's
For
trying
Rey.
to the whole movie, like,
Yeah, but
to
like
say
name,
something.
but name a romance movie that isn't that way though. It's always one sided in the beginning, and
Well, no, so I think that's kind of what I like about this because
Yeah.
that's more real life. Like sometimes you don't get to. Sometimes the person you
Yeah,
love
yeah,
does
sure,
fall in love
sure,
with someone
sure.
else. So
I
I think
mean,
that's okay.
yeah, I mean, I can reference real life to every scenario,
yeah.
but whatever, it's fine.
But
It's
I
fine.
like that. But like, okay, usually in a movie you get that like romance that everybody wants, and I like in this one that we didn't.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying that. Like, well, I mean, I'm just saying their chemistry could have been brought in. Like, if Finn and Rey actually became a thing, it wouldn't have been a generic thing, anyways. Like, I'm just saying that, like, just because their beginning was like a very generic thing, I don't even like the circumstances in which they were which they were brought together. It was just their chemistry,
Since we're talking about Finn and his chemistry with other characters, like so we also know that like Rose had this huge crush on him, and like the Last Jedi, Rose.
Who?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh my lord,
Guys, I think this is
I
going
wish
to be.
they treated Rose better in this movie. I didn't have anything wrong with her character.
I think
at
this is
all.
going to
Like,
have
I
to be a
didn't hate her character at
multi-parter.
all. I just think they could have utilized her more than like really like Finn was like, hey,
What were you
let's go together, and she's like, no, I can't, I gotta do some work, and I was like, okay.
They built
So
her
they're
up
totally
as a
cutting her out of this movie.
character in Last Jedi, and she was supposed to somehow, even if she doesn't end up falling in love with Finn, fine, whatever. But they kind of made her like this main focal point in like the Last Jedi, and like it just felt weird that like they don't address the feelings between each other. Like she had these feelings for Finn, she kissed him, they had a kiss, and then they just sidelined her. Like how could you just sideline her?
No,
after
that definitely happened. But like again, one of the other things that wasn't made clear is how much time has gone by since The Last Jedi, right?
Yeah,
How much
they could have
time?
had the awkward
That's
combo.
fine.
Yeah.
They could have had an awkward conversation, whatever. But like, I don't know. They needed to like address that somehow.
Yeah.
They needed to
Okay.
like.
This is what I'll say
establish that.
This is what I'll say about the romance. I kind of did see it coming, especially throughout this movie, and then really with the last movie as well. I wasn't like really big on like the whole. I know there's like so much fan fiction. There's probably even more now. Actually, I sent a synopsis one to Chris. I don't think he's given it a read yet.
Nope.
Neither have I. But
Has anybody seen
I
any?
don't
Something about,
care
like,
for the
has
romance.
anybody seen any fan
Kylo Ren
fiction
being
where
the
they're force
CEO of a
fucking?
company
Wait.
and Rey being a waitress?
What?
Oh my gosh.
I will say I did see this coming together. I know that Frank, you kind of had issues because it's like Jedi aren't supposed to fall in love, but they don't really know the rules. They're kind of breaking the rules, and with him sort of passing away at the end of that, I mean, that's it. Like I don't know like what her life will really hold. But
It's not just that;
I
it's
think,
that it's a trope too. It's a massive trope, right? And like, you know, you guys applauded the fact that Captain Marvel, like going to Marvel for a second, you guys applauded the fact that Captain Marvel didn't have a love interest, right?
So I'll just say this though. So for me in this movie,
Yeah.
I liked it because then it had potential to either push the plot in certain directions.
Sure.
Because love can be a powerful force.
Sure.
And then you could either make one of the characters come to the dark side or come to the good side based on like their love for each other or respect for each other.
I don't think you're going to do that.
But I think it could have done that. They could have used it differently if they were going to make them kiss.
So you want a codependent relationship where somebody gives up what they believe.
I don't want a codependent. I wanted them to both give up the force and come to that like middle ground, that middle gray area.
So drop their lightsabers and be like, we're just going to be norms from now on.
Or like a middle ground.
No, Frank, you're just oversimplifying.
You talked about the gray Jedi.
Sorry.
You talked about the gray Jedi.
Yeah, I did
wanted
talk
to
about
see
the
them
gray
both
Jedi.
be gray Jedis.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Either extreme is bad.
That's a good idea.
Either extreme is bad. Let's be leaders.
That's
Let's
a good
lead
idea.
people in like
That's
this
what I thought was
middle-
going to happen.
I like that.
Yeah, I like that.
I like that. Okay, cool.
That's what I wanted to say.
So going back to what Saba was saying about fan fiction for a sec, is there anything that exists where they were force fucking, like they're in different locations, but they're having sex?
Oh my
Well, there was
god.
only
Probably.
a hint to it. There was
Does
a
that
hint.
exist?
And if they
100%.
do it right, they can't get pregnant. They just
Oh.
they just don't move the.
That's true.
Oh, so it's like webcam sex.
You have
so,
to
like,
pull
to
out
make-
far enough.
Okay.
You have to pull out far
Okay,
enough
wait, there was a
Let's
hint
get us
to
out of
it.
this dark
to
corner.
create space.
So there was a hint to it in The Last Jedi, because for some reason, Kylo's just not wearing a shirt while he's talking to Rey that one time.
Yeah.
Oh, he was getting changed.
And she's like,
and-
"Can you like put your clothes on before you?"
I love that scene.
contact me?"
I actually like that scene a lot.
Yeah, but Snoke was controlling when they were connected, right? So, or Palpatine.
Yeah.
Sorry,
So,
Palpatine was
And he
controlling when
did
they
it
were
so they
connected.
Actually,
would
that
fall
was
in
Snoke. That was actually Snoke.
Well, no, Snoke was a puppet. He was literally a
Right.
fucking
But if
puppet.
we're talking about who did that, that was
Yeah.
Snoke. That was Snoke's plan.
Did anybody like
Yeah.
did anybody else like the irony that Palpatine was literally being held up like a fucking puppet? Like, I love that.
Oh,
That was
that's
great.
cool. Yeah.
That was
I
great.
mean, I like it
Yeah.
now that you told
Yeah.
me.
Okay,
That's cool.
I'm gonna have to cut out. I have to go.
All right, guys. Well, listen, we've all got stuff to do. It's the holidays, so let's make this part one of multi-parter
Yes.
because there's still
Stay
lots to
tuned.
talk about.
Yep.
We still got more characters to talk about, more scenes to talk about, and we still got a lot more opinions about this movie.
Yep.
And it is the final movie in this saga, so I think it deserves a little bit more time. So we'll sign off now.
Stay tuned for part 2.
Yeah, stay tuned for part 2, multi-parter. So this is Frank.
This is Christina.
Chris.
And Saba.
Force Ghost Saba.
Force Ghost Saba.
All right.
I love
All
the
right.
Later,
play
dudes.
on the Force Ghost communication.
Peace, guys.
Bye.
Stay tuned. Part 2 coming up. Bye-bye.